This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
A tsunami is the entire ocean column that is being lifted up above that high tide level.
The largest deregulatory action in the history of the United States.
Is there anything we can do for you? He just said, pray for us.
You're my favorite singer ever.
How do you feel, Skylar?
This is crazy.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. It is the sigh heard around the world. No significant damage from waves generated by the 5th largest earthquake on record in Russia last night.
There is a sense of relief. The evacuation orders, they have been lifted.
Fox News explaining it well.
We are thankful that this is really just another beautiful day following all those advisories and warnings. What a blessing.
Thousands were evacuated from shorelines in Hawaii and California.
Every gas station that we've passed is so full of people. I luckily filled up my truck this morning.
The all clear sounded a few hours ago. A tsunami moves at 500 miles an hour like a jet. The highest waves were only 6 feet high in Hawaii and even smaller ones in California. Dave Snyder's with the National Tsunami Warning Center and says it could have been far worse.
This is not a surf wave. It's not a wind wave. A tsunami is the entire ocean column that is being lifted up.
No major damage reported. The Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged today, but the board was divided on their vote. That is new. Business reporter Jason Brooks.
Unlike prior decisions, the vote to keep the federal funds rate at 4.25% to 4.5% was not unanimous, with Fed members Michelle Bowman and Christopher Waller each voting to lower rates by a quarter point.
Kind of a bummer on the interest rates, but there was good news today, too. The economy is surging at a stronger pace than expected. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
It was a good number. We grew in the second quarter 3% in comparison to negative growth in the first quarter.
There is an effort afoot on Capitol Hill to provide tariff relief checks to American families. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley wants to give some of the money collected from tariffs back to you in the form of a rebate check. If his bill becomes law, a family of 4 would see a $2,400 check from the U.S. government. Already this month, Uncle Sam has raked in $28 billion in tariff money from other countries. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is pushing to get the full Epstein files released. Democrats have written the Justice Department asking for the materials under a rarely used, century-old law.
Senate Democrats took action. We're invoking federal law and using our authority as a check on the executive to compel transparency.
There is a hearing today on Capitol Hill over a crash between a Delta Airlines flight and an Army helicopter that happened back in January. CBS's Chris Van Clee.
There's some indications that the information fed to the pilots might not have been accurate, making the pilots think they were lower than they actually were. So that's certainly one of the focuses of this investigation based on the questions that are being asked.
67 people were killed in that crash. Bye-bye climate change rules. The EPA made a major announcement. They're moving to repeal climate change regulations from 2009 on vehicle emissions and wastewater from power plants.
If finalized, today's announcement would amount to the largest deregulatory action in the history of the United States.
Energy Secretary Chris Wright says in 15 years, despite the regulations, greenhouse gases are the same.
We need to restore some common sense around climate change or energy, because the net result of what we've been doing is just impoverishing Americans, shipping jobs overseas, and doing pretty close to nothing on global greenhouse gas emissions. We don't want to tell people what car to drive or what kind of shower head to use or what their hot water heater should look like. We want Americans to choose.
And a new study claims children who get a smartphone before the age of 13 have a higher risk of suicide than other children. Michael Kastner reports.
Researchers in Virginia tracked over 100,000 smartphone users ages 18 to 24 and found those who had smartphones before the age of 13 showed much higher rates of suicidal thoughts and emotional issues. It found girls were especially affected, with 48% of those who got phones at an early age reporting suicidal thoughts. It also showed the impact of early smartphone use was worldwide, but that English-speaking countries reported the most severe effects. I'm Michael Kastner.
Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, Pennsylvania's minimum wage up for debate, the bricks in Buffalo that fell 13 stories, and it's time to end surprise hospital bills. Those stories after weather with Kevin Williams.
First of all, there'll be a shower or a thunderstorm in some areas this evening. Then overnight, tonight and tomorrow, cloudy with showers, numerous showers that will include thundery downpours. Some heavy rains can be expected, especially across portions of central and eastern Pennsylvania. It'll be turning cooler as well. Low temps tonight 60s, but high temps tomorrow only in the 70s. Friday will start foggy, but skies will clear for sunshine for most. That clearing will be slow, though, in eastern Pennsylvania on Friday, but ultimately it turns nice with high temps in the low to mid 70s. And again, the weekend is a beauty.
Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories, making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Anyone want a 30-degree temperature drop? How about tomorrow? It's currently 90 degrees at our studios in Bath, New York, with a heat index of 95. But tomorrow, our high is only 67. Heather Kenyon is with the National Weather Service in Buffalo and spoke with WBEN.
Yeah, it has been a very warm month across Western New York. We've hit 90 degrees 5 times this month, and right now we're actually in the top 10 warmest Julys on record for Buffalo. We'll see how that pans out in the next few days, but yes, it has been a very warm one.
In New York City, Governor Hochul attended a vigil last night for the 4 people gunned down in a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper.
I didn't know what to say. I said, I've been married to a man I cherish. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I don't know what to say to you to lift this pain off your heart. But I want you to know that we love you.
One attendee, the wife of a slain New York City police officer, due with a son next month.
I said, is there anything we can do for you? And in her broken English, she just said, pray for us.
Now to Buffalo. Bricks came tumbling off of one of the city's most recognizable buildings and injured a pedestrian 13 stories below yesterday. The 23-story Liberty Building is so named for its twin replicas of the Statue of Liberty that sit atop the 100-year-old structure. Amazingly, the pedestrian suffered only minor injuries. Connecticut resident Ernest Ursini was in town on vacation and watched it. He tells WKBW.
I said, brother, you better go to church today. That's for sure.
Experts now inspecting that building. 465 sex abuse survivors have reached a $246 million settlement with the Rochester Catholic Diocese. 78-year-old Carol Dupre was just 15 when she was abused by a priest in Marion, New York.
If they gave us all $1 billion, it's not going to fix what happened. It's not the answer to healing, but the process that we went through with this brought healing for me.
Dupre tells Wham! News the 6-year legal battle has been hard to endure, and many of the sex abuse survivors are just happy that it's over. She adds the scandal has tarnished the faith of hundreds of Catholics in Western New York.
They wanted to love God, and suddenly someone who's supposed to symbolize the love of God is doing something perverted and perverse. And it really messed up a lot of lives.
A judge will approve a bankruptcy plan on September 5th for the Rochester Catholic Diocese. There's a new effort to boost Pennsylvania's minimum wage. Here's Family Life's Mark Webster.
Yeah, there's been no shortage of moves in Harrisburg to raise PA's bottom line hourly wage, which at $7.25 an hour ranks among the lowest in the nation. But legislation forthcoming from Republican State Senator Dan Laughlin calls for a gradual raising of the minimum from now through 2028, when it would become $11 an hour. Laughlin says it's about catching up, noting that many PA employers already pay above the current minimum wage in order to attract workers. He calls it a matter of fairness and economic necessity. Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Pennsylvania lawmakers are teaming up to address concerns about surprise hospital costs. The Biden and Trump administration set guidelines requiring hospitals to provide pricing estimates online, but only 40% of PA hospitals comply. Republican Senator Dawn Kiefer and Democrat Tariq Khan are proposing an amendment to the Pennsylvania Healthcare Facilities Act.
There's no functional market because there's no competition.
What services do you consume that you have no idea what the cost is going to be until after you've consumed those services?
Hospitals that are not in compliance would not be able to collect on the debt and may lose out in millions in state funding. Next at 5, failure to thrive. Do you have some kids or adult kids that aren't ready to leave the nest? Our own Mark Webster breaks it down with Chris Anderson in today's Real Answers. Let's listen in.
Well, we'll call it Failure to Launch Part 2. Welcome back to another edition of Real Answers, a regular Wednesday feature during the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues that matter to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Welcome back, Chris.
Mark, thank you, and it's good to do Part 2 because there's more to talk about.
Yeah. And our last program on the topic generated a fair amount of interest, and you noted back then that there was a lot more material to be covered than one program could really do justice to, so we're going to go plumb the depths a bit more of what is a rising trend in recent years of adult children hesitant to strike out on their own. We'll start with early teaching kids responsibility. That can go a long way to preventing those launch issues later.
Absolutely. And teaching our children responsibility in the home by giving them assigned chores really is twofold. It teaches them responsibility, that they are part of the family and everybody needs to chip in to help maintain the house. But secondly, it starts the building of confidence as well as ability to focus. And so starting the kids early is important. And then also, if you're not sure of what is appropriate in terms of a chore for a child of a particular age, there's some good stuff online too about what is good for children of different ages.
Hey, you touched on that lack of ability to focus. That's a big problem these days. We see the whole ADHD thing that seems to have risen, and the video games, we talked about that, and kids just live an instant life from birth practically. Everything's got to be boom, boom, and to try to sit down and focus on something seems to be quite a challenge.
It is a challenge, and I think the failure to focus is multifaceted. Again, screen time, and this started back when the internet started to become very popular, because way back in the 90s, the average time you spent on any given web page was only 8 to 10 seconds. Well, that's markedly less now, so you're training your brain to be able to focus less and less. And as far as video gaming goes, the best case scenario is for your adult child to agree that this actually is an addictive behavior that has really no positive benefits. Make sure you have a clear taper off plan in place, and make sure you communicate that clearly with your child. And honestly, I think it's best to just get rid of them all together immediately, and then utilize other forms of recreation, relaxation, and socialization strategies to take the place of that gaming. And yep, there will be a bit of screen withdrawal in the process. That's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
That's our own Mark Webster and Chris Anderson. You can subscribe, listen to, and share Real Answers and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
A custodial account is a great way to give your kids or grandkids a financial jump start in life. Hi, I'm Rob West with a Faith and Finance Minute. A custodial account for saving or investing is set up in a minor child's name where you are the custodian, and they provide a tax benefit. Once assets go into the account, they're no longer counted against you for tax purposes. They do have certain drawbacks. Once your funds go into the child's account, the child legally owns them, and only the child can withdraw funds from the account upon reaching the age of majority. And at that age, the child can use the funds however he or she wants, which could be a problem if they're not ready for the responsibility. So while it's a great tool, be sure it fits your goals and their maturity. Get biblical answers to your financial questions in the Faith Fi community. Download Faith Fi, Faith and Finance in your app store or visit faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, the surprise of a lifetime for a 13-year-old Camp Mystic flood survivor. That story after one last look at your forecast.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Changes ahead in our weather. A couple of cold fronts will do a couple things. First, bring us some rain, and then in their wake, clear the skies for some beautiful weather as we head into the weekend. Here's our call. First of all, there'll be a shower or a thunderstorm in some areas this evening. Then overnight, tonight and tomorrow, cloudy with showers, numerous showers that will include thundery downpours. Some heavy rains can be expected, especially across portions of central and eastern Pennsylvania. It'll be turning cooler as well. Low temps tonight, 60s, but high temps tomorrow, only in the 70s. Friday will start foggy, but skies will clear for sunshine for most. That clearing will be slow, though, in eastern Pennsylvania on Friday, but ultimately it turns nice with high temps in the low to mid-70s. And again, the weekend is a beauty.
We'll take it. Finally, at 5, a 13-year-old girl who survived the raging floodwaters at Camp Mystic in the closest cabin to the Guadalupe River wrote a song about living through the experience.
I heard there was a giant flood, but we were washed in Jesus' blood.
That song went viral. At one point, Christian singer Lauren Daigle saw it. Then Daigle came out on stage to surprise her as she sang it for Fox News yesterday.
Oh, she is right there.
Oh my gosh. Literally was standing in the corner like tears. I was like, you have such a beautiful voice.
You're my favorite singer ever.
Oh,
how do you feel, Skylar?
Thank you.
This is crazy.
She offered some kind words to the little one who lost 27 of her cabin mates.
You took the tragedy and you turned it into something incredible. You turned it into something beautiful. And that is so telling of your faith. It's so telling of the hope that you have in Jesus, that you could take a tough situation and turn it into something beautiful.
A little girl when everything around her is dark, walking with the light of Jesus in her heart. And that's the world that we live in for Wednesday, the 30th of July. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.